Students in CTLE 6510 Cyber Pedagogy. This is your instructor, Dr. Linda Ralston. I hope that you have derived a great deal of benefit from this lesson and from reviewing the quality course framework. But before we begin the task of developing your own course materials, I wanted to go over some of the terms and clarify what type of course materials you are permitted to do in this course. So, first of all, allow me to clarify. E-learning, the term, has changed in its definition a great deal from the beginning. So, today it pretty much means nothing more than the use of technology to connect teachers and students who might be physically miles apart. The training can be delivered by a number of means. In the past, these may have included things like mainframe computers and floppy disk and multimedia CD-ROMs. Well, it's changing once again, and we see a lot more sophisticated on the web, a lot more applications and software that's freely accessible. So we see classes that are being delivered via the internet as well as via the intranet. Today, there is a move to combining the benefits of face-to-face classroom with the best of e-learning course design in what's called blended learning. Additionally, future trends now are looking at the evolution of our telephone to the smartphones that allow people to connect very inexpensively on these smartphones. And this new form of education is being called eLearning or mobile learning. So we'll think about those terms, and anything you want to use in that realm is acceptable in this course for this project. E-learning typically is broken into two types, synchronous and asynchronous. Synchronous simply means at the same time. This involves interaction of the participants with an instructor via the web in real time. For instance, I have done some training in China during the school year. I can't go over there for a length of time, so many times I'll be online in the evening giving lectures synchronously to people in China that they're in the classroom listening to me and asking me questions using microphones over their computers, but we're in a virtual classroom at the same time. The only difference is it may be 7 or 8 o'clock here and it's 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning depending on the time of the year and if we're on daylight savings time. So we see that there are these virtual classrooms, and participants interact with each other and the instructors through different forms such as instant messaging, chats, audio and video conferencing. We can use Skype for this. And what's more, all the sessions can be recorded and played back. Therefore, there's a lot of benefits to this, the ability to log on and track the learning activities on a per student basis. There's also the continuous monitoring and correction that is possible if we're meeting at the same time. There's obviously the ability to personalize the training for each learner because I can provide different types of elements and content for the different types of learning styles. And of course, there is the opportunity for a global connectivity and collaboration opportunities among the learners. Now, asynchronous, when it first was developed, asynchronous means that it was not at the same time. This allows the participants to complete at their own pace without live interaction of the instructor. Although that's no longer the case, I would say asynchronous courses can have, at the request of the student, synchronous meeting times. But the key thing is with an asynchronous course is that all the information is accessible on a self-paced basis, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days of the year, or at least for the semester, depending on how the course is segmented. The advantage is that this kind of e-learning offers the learners the information that they need whenever they need it. It also has interaction amongst the participants through message boards, bulletin boards, discussion forums, whatever you want to call those. And we often see that this is very useful for computer-based training, in which we have modules where people can watch screen captures that demonstrate how they do things, and then they can do it immediately on their own computer. Some of the benefits of asynchronous learning is it's available for just in time, for instant learning and reference. You can change the topics according to what is needed. For instance, several years ago I was teaching about international tourism and some of the things that are barriers to international tourism, and we had a situation where the earthquake happened in Japan with the tsunami. I'm sure you remember it. But I wasn't supposed to be talking about crisis management with tourism for several more weeks, but I didn't wait because it was just too good of a learning moment to use to talk about it immediately. Asynchronous learning is also very flexible because it can be accessed from anywhere at any time. So many times when I teach asynchronously, I have students who are all around the globe. I've had them almost every country that you can think of at the same time. There's an ability to be simultaneously to reach out to an unlimited number of students at the same time, but there is uniformity in content so that the students know what they're getting every week. Finally, we come to the area of blended learning. Blended learning is seen by many people as a process in which appropriate e-learning modules are a precursor to a training session in the classroom. Blended is a term commonly used to describe courses in which some traditional face-to-face seat time has been replaced by online learning activities. I recently learned in a MOOC that I was in that, of course, blended learning is a common term that we use in the United States, but it's not necessarily common elsewhere. A group of Australians that I was conversing with over an instant conversation using Twitter chat mentioned that to them, blended learning is called flexible learning. So it's basically the same thing. Technology-assisted e-learning courses that incorporates a variety of levels of technology. If you're just using it as part of a course, just a fraction of a course, we typically refer to this as technology-assisted. That's which we use computer-mediated activities as part of a series of assignments or content transfers to facilitate different types of things. A hybrid or blended course are names commonly used to describe courses in which some traditional face-to-face seat time in the classroom still occurs, but this has largely, at least 50% of the time, been replaced by online learning activities. The purpose of having a hybrid course is to take advantage of the best features of both face-to-face and online learning. A hybrid course is designed to integrate face-to-face and online activities so they reinforce, complement, and elaborate on one another, instead of treating the online component as an add-on or a duplicate of what's taught in the class. And as I alluded to previously, it's about 50% to 50% of the time to truly be a hybrid course. Finally, a course that I love teaching is a flipped classroom or a flipped course. In essence, the flipping the classroom simply means that the students gain first exposure to new material outside of the class, usually via reading or lecture videos, and then use the class time to do the much more difficult work of assimilating the knowledge or developing skills, creating discussions or projects together, or problem solving. I use it in terms of an electronic marketing class, so that what I do is the students have time to learn about the jargon, the terms, the concepts that form the basis of electronic marketing, and then we come into the classroom and we do the hands-on of learning Photoshop, learning how to use Flash, learning how to create web pages. We use a lot of social media, and we learn how to use those in the computer lab. Hopefully I have clarified some of the terminology, because I've heard or have gotten a lot of messages from people saying, I don't want to do a fully online course. I'm not ready for that. And that's fine. You have to be the master of your own destiny here in this class. What I want you to do at this point now, as you start this assignment and we start building a design for a course, I want you to decide whether that's going to be a blended course. It could be a sequence of hybrid style learning units. It could be just 3 units that you're going to incorporate into your traditional face-to-face class, so that you have some just to get your feet wet, so to speak, or you can do a fully online course. The choice is yours. I am not going to restrict you in this course. The key aspect is the lessons you develop are to be delivered online. And so you can decide in what category that's going to accomplish. In the end, we're going to be doing this as a phased process, so that you can each give project teams, you can give your feedback to the other individuals in your group, and you can work together to help think about what is best for your course. And with that, you are now ready to start on the assignment. To provide just one more tip for future reference, from time to time I'm going to provide you with resources that's available to you on the web that you can use to liven up your courses with graphics and so forth. And this lesson, I have used a free template for a PowerPoint from slidehunter.com, and this was available to be used as a Creative Commons item. The main thing I have to do is either upload my template after I'm done and I've used it, or I can just post something like I did on Twitter saying that I'm using it in my classes. So there is possibilities of you getting other PowerPoints from off the web that allows you to have a little variety, a little bit more color, and make them just more visually appealing. Again, for some of your students that may be helpful. So just an add little bonus to this lesson.